Hello, everyone. Leandria Johnson, the powerhouse gospel vocalist whose raw, unfiltered voice and equally unfiltered personality have made her one of the most polarizing yet beloved figures in modern gospel music, has now found herself at the center of a viral storm after reportedly being humbled in dramatic fashion by none other than Kim Burrell, the veteran gospel legend known for her unmatched vocal control, her sharp wit, and her sometimes controversial bluntness that has both inspired and offended audiences in equal measure. And this latest encounter between the two women has stirred up one of the most talked about moments in recent gospel history. For years, Leandria has carried a reputation for being bold, outspoken, and unwilling to play by the traditional rules of the church or the industry, a trait that has drawn both applause and criticism. And while her authenticity has won her a loyal fan base, it has also made her a target for those who believe she lacks the discipline and respect needed to sustain a long-term career in gospel, which is why this confrontation with Kim Burrell is striking such a nerve, because Burrell has long been considered one of the gatekeepers of the genre, a woman whose influence extends beyond her own music into mentorship, industry connections, and behind-the-scenes power. And when she chose to call Leandria out in front of peers and fans, it was more than a passing moment. It was a public rebuke that resonated deeply. According to those who witnessed it, the exchange happened during a private industry event that quickly became public fodder when footage began leaking online, showing Kim stepping to the microphone and addressing Leandria directly, not in malice, but in the kind of tough love correction that has defined her interactions with younger artists. And with her trademark mix of humor and sharpness, Burrell reminded Leandria that gifting alone will never be enough, that anointing must be matched with character, discipline, and respect for the platform God provides. And she went further, pointing out that while Leandria's talent is undeniable, her tendency to speak recklessly, arrive late, or disregard protocol undermines the very gift that could take her further than anyone else. The audience, a mix of industry heavyweights and church folk, gasped and murmured as Burrell's words cut through the atmosphere, because while many had thought these things privately, few ever dared to say them to Leandria's face, and Burrell, never one to shy away from uncomfortable truth, laid it bare. Leandria, caught off guard, attempted to defend herself, saying that her authenticity is part of who she is and that she refuses to conform to a system that has historically suffocated individuality. But Burrell quickly countered, telling her that there is a difference between authenticity and recklessness, and that if she truly wanted to serve God with her gift, she would need to learn humility, discipline, and the art of listening before speaking. A statement that drew a mix of applause and uneasy silence from the room. The clip, once it hit social media, exploded with fans fiercely divided, some cheering Kim Burrell for saying what needed to be said, and for offering what they saw as motherly correction to a younger artist whose career has often been jeopardized by her choices, while others blasted Kim for embarrassing Leandria publicly instead of pulling her aside privately, arguing that public humiliation does more harm than good. As the debate raged, Leandria herself later addressed the moment in an emotional live stream, admitting that while Kim's words stung, they also forced her to reflect, and she confessed that there were areas in her life and career where she had become complacent, letting her gift carry her while neglecting the work of character building, a rare moment of humility that endeared her even more to fans who long for transparency. And though she did not completely agree with Kim's approach, she admitted that sometimes God uses unexpected vessels to bring correction, and in this case, that vessel was Kim Burrell. Meanwhile, Kim defended her decision to address Leandria so directly, saying that too many young artists crash and burn because no one tells them the truth until it's too late, and she refused to watch another gifted singer self-destruct when a word of correction could And this potentially tension change between her the two course. women has now become symbolic of a larger issue in gospel music. The clash between old-school discipline and new-school authenticity, between a generation that values protocol and a generation that values raw honesty. And the debate has spilled into churches, conferences, and online forums, with people asking whether the gospel industry is too harsh on free-spirited artists like Leandria, or whether those artists need to embrace correction if they want longevity. Ultimately, the encounter between Leandria Johnson and Kim Burrell is about more than two powerful voices. It is about the future of gospel itself. about whether talent alone is enough to carry the next generation or whether humility, accountability, and wisdom will be the keys that sustain it. And while fans may continue to argue over whether Kim's rebuke was an act of love or an unnecessary embarrassment, one thing is undeniable. In that moment, Leandria was humbled, and Kim Burrell once again proved that her influence extends far beyond her music, reminding the gospel world that sometimes the hardest truths come from those who love the art, the church, and the calling too much to stay silent, leaving everyone to wonder how this humbling moment will shape Leandria Johnson's journey going forward, and whether it marks the beginning of a new season of growth for one of gospel's most gifted yet complicated stars. Thanks for watching.